Hello and welcome to another episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Benjamin Iaia, joined here by our forecaster, Maddie Olms. And Maddie, we are finally back on set after last week, but we've been blessed with some really high temperatures the past couple of days. Are these going to continue?
Unfortunately, we've been a little too spoiled these last few days. Heading into the weekend, things will begin to cool off, but they'll still remain seasonable.
Well, that sounds great to hear. Are we expecting any precipitation like we saw a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, so on Friday, we will be seeing some showers heading into the weekend, but thankfully by Saturday and Sunday, that sun will be peeking out again for us.
That's wonderful to hear because we have a holiday on Sunday and St. Patrick's Day, so having some sunshine during that day, we got some luck of the Irish on our hands.
Absolutely. Later in the show, we'll be seeing a feature by Austin Long on the Doomsday clock.
But before we see any of that, we have nature in the news.
As time goes on, we're always absorbing new information. Recently, scientists have gathered new information about Earth's past climate from centuries-old sponges living in the Caribbean Sea. Rising temperatures have been measured by satellites and sensors to get a better understanding of global warming. However, that data can only get researchers so far when thermometer readings could have been spotty and inexact back in the 19th century. That is why the sponges were brought in. The skeletons of the sponges take centuries to build up. Examining the chemical composition of the skeletons has allowed scientists to piece together a new history of the earliest decades of warming. The conclusion they were able to draw is that humans have raised global temperatures by 1.7 degrees Celsius or 3.1 degrees Fahrenheit. The star or sponge of the show is the sclerosponge. They are small, about the size of a grapefruit, and are located in deep, dimly lit environments. In a slow-growing process, the chemical footprints of the water temperatures that wash around them are left on the sponge. The chemical footprints have allowed researchers to discover centuries' worth of data. These sponges have shared a lot with us. If there is one piece of information to absorb, it's that our climate is quickly warming.
If you look up in the night sky between now and September, you will be treated to a stellar delight. Between the constellations of Bootes and Hercules lies a small band of stars called Corona Borealis, where a star is due to explode. The explosion, which is due any time now, is going to be as bright as Polaris, the North Star, and the 60th brightest natural object in the night sky. The reason why astronomers are predicting this explosion, or nova, is because it is a cyclical nova. This rhythmic explosion is caused by a white dwarf star devouring the mass of a red giant star. When the devoured mass becomes superheated, it explodes in a massive supernova. The nova occurs once every 78 years and will be at max brightness for only 1 week before fading away. To find Corona Borealis in spring, look to the eastern sky. By the summertime, Corona Borealis will be directly overhead, and by autumn, it will be in the western sky.
Let's dial into an 11th century artifact that recently turned up in Italy. The artifact is known as an astrolabe. For 2,000 years, celestial observers mapped the heavens with these surprisingly precise instruments. They resemble large, old-fashioned pocket watches and allowed users to determine time, distances, heights, and latitudes. When in the sunlight, the relic's brass features illuminate. On the astrolabe, there appeared to be Arabic inscriptions, faint Hebrew markings, and Western numerals and scratches. Historians soon realized that this object was not only rare, but it was a powerful record of scientific exchange between Muslims, Jews, and Christians over nearly a millennium. These tools are believed to have been around the time of Apollonius of Perga, a Greek mathematician known as the Great Geometer, from the 3rd century BC. Over time, the astrolabe underwent numerous modifications, additions, and adaptations indicating its travels, ultimately landing it in Italy.
Archaeologists have made a new discovery in an ancient settlement in Israel. This site, named Tel Shikmona, was uncovered to be a colossal dye factory, where Tyrian purple was made. Tyrian purple, a prized pigment across the Middle East and Europe, is derived from a slimy mucus produced by a certain species of snail. Very few Tyrian purple dye factories have been discovered, and most were located in ancient Phoenicia, modern-day Lebanon and Syria. Tel Shikmona had always been an ancient enigma, as the area harbored a large fort-like structure despite being far removed from croplands. In 1977, large vats of Tyrian purple dating back to 1500 BC, along with pottery from Phoenician culture, which adds another layer to Tel Shikmona's history, as it was thought to date back to only 1000 BC and built by the Israelites. Archaeologists and scientists chemically tested the purple dye found and confirmed that the pigment was real, making Tel Shikmona one of the oldest and largest Tyrian purple factories discovered thus far.
We've been pretty spoiled this last week with high temperatures and dry conditions, but that may not be the case as we head into the weekend. Starting off on Friday, we can see this low pressure system sitting around Maryland and Virginia and this cold front leading this rain system along the eastern coast of the country. Now if we take a little bit more of a look westward, we just see some cloudy conditions sitting over Indiana and Ohio, but thankfully pretty dry conditions that are going to continue to persist as we head into Saturday. We see that cold front moving out over the Atlantic and a high pressure system forming in southern Illinois and Indiana. That high pressure system is going to help clear out any inclement weather that we were seeing, whether that may be the rain showers or even clearing out those clouds in the sky, giving us some pretty mild conditions. Thankfully, we'll be seeing that sun try to poke through over Pennsylvania and New York as we finish off the day on Saturday and even heading into Sunday. There is a low pressure system beginning to form in Canada that we can see on Sunday, and some rain showers near Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire. Unfortunately for us, that low pressure system will be the leading factor for this cold front that will be passing through, cooling things off for us ever so slightly. Clouds will continue to persist near the Midwest region, but we do see that sun still trying to poke through as we finish off the weekend over Pennsylvania. Let's head into our weekend recap. On Friday, it's going to be a damper of a day, but thankfully the temperatures will be well above average, sitting at about 64 degrees, so there's a positive there. Heading into Friday night, things begin to cool off to about 54 degrees, and those rain showers will finally begin to move out. And we'll be seeing some dry conditions on Saturday as the temperature ever so slightly rises to about 57 degrees. That sun's going to be trying to poking through in the clouds in the sky. Heading into Saturday night, those clouds are still going to persist and temperatures are going to drop to a lot more seasonable feel, where our average is about 46 for this time of year, and it's going to be 39 degrees at night. Heading into Sunday, we will see temperatures rise again, and that's lucky for us on that St. Patrick's Day. We'll be seeing the sun poke through and having temperatures sit at about 53 degrees, so go enjoy the weather on that St. Patrick's Day. Up next, we have a feature by Austin Long on the Doomsday Clock.
Well, it may seem pretty serene and peaceful here at this part of Penn State, but tensions around the world continue to rise. Nuclear risk, climate change, and disruptive technologies are all factors that are leading us towards the end of the world as we know it. Till the end of the world, the time is measured by the Doomsday Clock.
After the invention of the atomic bomb back in World War II, the creators of the bomb foresaw that they had begun a journey down an irreversible path towards global extinction. Created in 1945 by Albert Einstein, J. Robert Oppenheimer, and University of Chicago scientists, the Doomsday Clock gives us a look at how close we are to the end of humanity and the world. Since the initial debut of the clock in 1947, renowned scientists have come together annually to reassess the damage being done to the world by humans. The clock originally started out at 7 minutes to midnight back in 1947, midnight being the end of the world. Since then, it has varied in time changes, ranging from 90 seconds, which is what it was in 2023, and what it is now in 2024, to 17 minutes in 1991 after the Cold War had subsided. Factors scientists look at to determine the time involve nuclear arsenals, climate change, and advancements in technologies. Besides the current time now, the arms race in the 50s and the Cold War saw low times due to the incredibly fast advancements in nuclear weapons across the world. Since then, those nuclear arsenals have continued to grow, leading us to the time we've been at this and last year. 2023 became the hottest year on record. Russia sparked a war with Ukraine, and AI has started to become a dominant figure when it comes to technology. These conglomerate factors have carried over into 2024, keeping us closer to midnight than ever before. With extermination imminent, there are ways that all of us can help to turn the clock back. The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists gives us a general overview of what would help to turn the clock back, stating that the three world superpowers, the US, China, and Russia, should commence serious dialogue about the global threats that are facing us. These countries need to take responsibility for the existential damage the world faces. They have the capacity to pull the world from the brink of catastrophe. Locally, this would mean electing leaders that would properly discuss nuclear disarmament with other countries, promote actions that would decrease climate change, and regulate AI in order to reduce potential harm. Turning back the clock is not a small ordeal and may seem impossible. No one leader or country can do it alone, but rather a collective effort among a multitude of countries could see a shift in the clock. 2024 has a long way to go, so we'll just have to wait and see what all unfolds throughout the rest of the year. Until then, it's still 90 seconds to midnight. For Whether or Not, I'm Austin Long.
As we head into this weekend, we will be seeing some rain showers, but thankfully, moving into next week, that rain will be out of the way and the sun will begin to shine. Now, taking a look at our weekend recap. Starting off on Friday, it will be a damper of a day with the rain in the area, but we will be sitting at a comfortable 64 degrees, which is well above average for this time of year. It'll cool off to about 54 that night, but come right back up to 57 degrees during the day on Saturday, with that sun trying to poke through the clouds ever so slightly. Saturday night, it will cool off to about 39 degrees, but moving into Sunday, the luck of the Irish is on our side, and those temperatures will come right back up to 53 degrees, and we'll be seeing that sun yet again over the weekend to finish off our weekend, sitting at about 42 degrees that evening. Now, taking a look for next week, we see some cooler temperatures to start off the week at about 42 degrees. But as we finish off our week and make our way through till Friday, we see our temperatures rise back up to about 53 degrees. Monday and Tuesday, those clouds will be persistent, but that sun will continue to make its way through Wednesday and Thursday, with a really sunny day on Thursday, unfortunately finishing our week off with some clouds overhead. But we can be thankful that it won't be snow or any winter weather as we continue through this spring season.
Yeah, Maddie, speaking of the winter weather, that relates to our Weather Whiz quiz for this week. So the Weather Whiz quiz question for this episode is, what was the snowiest St. Patrick's Day on record in State College? Was it A, 1.9 inches, B, 3.2 inches, C, 5.8 inches, or D, 7.6 inches? If you selected D, 7.6 inches, you would be correct. And Maddie, that actually happened in 2007, so quite recently.
Wow, that wasn't too long ago, and I can remember some pretty snowy St. Patrick's Day myself as I grew up being an Irish dancer.
You were an Irish dancer?
I was.
You're gonna have to show us some dance moves after the episode.
Gosh, if I can remember the steps.
It's been a while, I'm sure. Unfortunately, we are all out of time this episode, but stay tuned for a new episode of Whether or Not.